Joining us for the first time, renowned Harvard astronomer Professor Avi Loeb, who was recently appointed as the head of the UAP Scientific Advisor Council for the White House, Pentagon, and intelligence agencies. Thank you for joining us, sir.
Thanks for having me. It's a great pleasure to join you.
We are big alien fans here, and we want to hear from the horse's mouth what's been going on with the news. But my first question before we get into it is, how is your right arm feeling? I saw you threw out the first pitch for the Astros. You were throwing some gas.
Yeah, so when I received the call about a month ago, "Hi, Avi, this is Kyle from the Astros," and I asked him, which group of astrophysicists are you referring to? Turned out to be the business manager of the Astros, and I went there a week ago and threw the first pitch. And also I had the chance to do a podcast and meet a rapper that I've never met that is interested in aliens.
Wow, who is the rapper?
His name is Slim Thug.
Okay. Wow, you had a big day, a lot of new experiences for you.
It's an opportunity to celebrate science because all Americans are excited about two things. One is, are we alone? You know, is there a partner out there? It's sort of the most romantic question in science, right, to ask. And the second, of course, everyone agrees that national security is important. And, trying to check if we have a package in our mailbox addresses both of these, because it could be a package from an adversarial nation.
Yep.
You know, we might have a drone from the Chinese or a balloon. I mean, we shut down a Chinese spy balloon in 2023. Or we might see some alien technologies in our sky. And, both ways, it's a win-win situation to explore it scientifically. But for some reason, this is not a popular subject within science. I see it as an opportunity to bring science to the public. And, parents were telling me that when their kids saw me on television, they are now inspired of becoming a scientist.
Great.
So for me, that's the most important thing.
And also, Ryan Gosling was a pretty hot scientist in Project Hail Mary, so that's good. That's good PR for you guys in general. So we're excited to get into it all. What came out in the recent UAP files for the Pentagon, which you worked directly to kind of get out to the public and communicate?
Only over the past decade, we started discovering interstellar objects. These are objects that arrived into the solar system near the Earth from outside. How do we know that? Because they move really fast. They can't be bound by gravity to the sun. Yeah. And a couple of them were quite unusual, anomalous, and I talked about it. But the US government has been collecting data about objects in the sky for 80 years. Defense budget is about $1 trillion in 2026. So out of a sense of protecting the security of the nation, you would expect them to every now and then maybe see things that they cannot fully understand. And indeed, there are reports about them. So these are called unidentified anomalous phenomena. These are objects that the Pentagon or the intelligence agencies cannot figure out. If these are technological objects, there are two possibilities. Either they are human-made or not human-made. If in the first case, if they cannot identify, it means that it could be a national security threat. So we really need to figure out if these are maybe drones that were sent by the Chinese or the Russians, they're spying. And that's not hallucination, because in 2023, there was a Chinese spy balloon, a giant.
I remember it. There was a lot of memes about it. Yeah, I remember it very well.
Yeah. And by the way, it was citizens that saw it in the sky.
Yeah.
So, when I go to the kitchen and I find an ant, I usually get alarmed because it means there are many more ants hiding under the sink. And so for every Chinese spy balloon, there must be many more. At the very least, we are helping the Pentagon fulfill its mission of protecting the US. But even if 1 in a million of these objects happen to be alien technology, that would be the biggest discovery ever made by humanity.
So the Pentagon has been releasing these files that are publicly available information. And so there was a recent drop a few days ago. Can you kind of explain what was in that release?
Since May, over the past 3 months, there were 5 releases, and each of them had different types of data. It included the videos, images, and by the way, all of the videos that we've seen that were publicly released, we cannot really tell if the objects are human-made or not, because they don't tell us the distance to the objects. We can't figure out how fast they're moving. But I think they have much more information, and they are releasing it as unidentified objects or UAP because these objects behave in ways that they cannot explain in terms of all the known weapons
Right.
that are being used by the military and other militaries. Anyway, in the latest batch that was released just a few days ago, there were several reports about very strange phenomena. For example, there were two pilots that over Afghanistan noticed a black triangle that is roughly 150 meters or 500 feet in size. You know, the bigger, twice the size of a football field.
Yeah,
you
it's
know,
huge.
It was hovering over them and moving very slowly. And there is no aircraft that is human-made that big. So that was surprising. There was a report about very reliable FBI agents were talking about an encounter with unidentified anomalous phenomena. And then after that, the analog clock that one of them had progressed 25 minutes ahead of the digital clocks that were in the car or on the cell phone. And so that's very strange, difficult to explain. In addition, there was an unusual event that involved orbs. You know, these are objects that cannot be figured out. It looks like the U.S. government is engaged with figuring out these orbs because they see them in many places. And they are being reported by very reliable sources. And one way to figure it out is to shoot them.
Yeah. That's what I would do. That'd be my first thought.
If you're able to bring them down, it will remove all kinds of hypotheses that these represent technologies or physics that we don't know about. We can bring it down so we can then examine the materials and so forth.
The information that's being released is information that the government is like, we don't know what this is. Because if it was, you know, a man-made item, we would be just kind of, we would look pretty stupid. We're like showing them Chinese spies and being like, we would all be dead by now. So
no, I mean, it would show that they're incompetent.
Right. So the fact that they are releasing this does indicate that they really don't know what it is.
Well, more importantly, the fact that they asked me as a scientist to advise the government, that includes the FBI, the Director of National Intelligence, the Pentagon, you know, the White House. The fact that they come to me as a scientist and say, we would appreciate your advice, is telling, because if they were absolutely sure that this is human-made,
right, they
would write a classified memo to the Secretary of War, and that would be it. The Pentagon obviously would prefer not to expose a vulnerability.
Why do you think the government is coming forward now versus previous times? Is it just the society's ready for it? There's just an incredible amount of interest around it. We have the technology.
I think, well, the current administration, the Trump administration, is making an effort to disclose federal secrets, what used to be related, let's say, to the Kennedy assassination, to other federal secrets. And so this is considered
on the list
one of them. And there is there is a sentiment within the public of mistrusting you know,
the government,
the establishment. And so the attempt here is to open up this box that was sealed for so many decades and see what there is inside. At any event, this could open the floodgates in terms of
more
information flowing within government.
I had a question for you. So you've spent your whole life researching these things, talking about them. Do you ever get jealous when you hear eyewitness reports of seeing aliens and you're like, I should have been the one who gets to see that. I'm the one who knows the most about it.
I haven't seen it.
Yeah, what the hell? That's not fair.
I'm not jealous because they might be
dangerous.
I don't know if they're telling the truth. So if someone tells you, you know, I have a girlfriend that is amazing, she's brilliant, beautiful, everything you can think of.
She doesn't have an Instagram though. Yeah, you can't look her up.
You have to see the evidence before you become jealous, right?
True.
You can't just believe. So the point is, of course, if I see the evidence and it's beyond any reasonable doubt, I would salute these people and say we are now in a new
I think
it's in the evolution of humanity.
I think it's hard because a lot of these things are like people testimony saying it. We don't have the physical evidence, but there's not going to be the physical evidence until there's the physical evidence.
One way or another, my hope is that within the coming years, we will know.
I love it. Okay, a couple questions for you before we let you go. So there's been a lot of Hollywood depictions of aliens lately, especially this year. There were two movies out this year, Project Hail Mary and Disclosure Day. Which of those do you think is the more accurate's the wrong word because there's been no aliens yet, but which of those do you think feels more scientific, more accurate?
Yeah, I don't like science fiction, to tell you the truth, because, for example, in Project Hail Mary, there are lots of things that violate the laws of physics, don't make sense at all. I cannot enjoy it.
Right.
I mean, it's nice as a form of art. I'm a physicist. I want,
Right.
I'm in love with the reality, not with ideas that are fictitious. And, the one signature of true love is that whoever you are in love with, you really appreciate their faults as well. And that's my relationship to the physical reality. I want to know what it is. It's under no contract to make me happy.
Yeah.
We might not be at the top of the food chain, cosmologically speaking. I'm not trying to enjoy the experience. I'm just trying to figure out. I'm in love with whatever reality we have. I want to know about it as much as possible. And in particular, are we alone? Do we have a neighbor? And whatever is out there is important for us to know, because then we can adapt to it. And that's what I'm in love with. I'm not in love with ideas, with imagination, with hallucinations. I don't think that if they're visiting, that it's because of us.
Yeah.
Let's imagine chimpanzees in the jungle. Okay, they see airplanes, aircraft in the sky, and just imagine an alpha male who is the leader of the
Right.
community of chimpanzees.
LeBron
saying,
James for us.
We can go to another terrain out there. And everyone, all the chimpanzees see that as an amazing vision. That's like Elon Musk saying, let's go to Mars instead of staying on Earth. And everyone says, oh, that's a very ambitious, space project, given that there is this backdrop of all people on Earth focused on down-to-earth issues.
Right.
So he says, let's go to Mars. That's amazing. It's actually not amazing in the big scheme of things, because, what counts as an accomplishment in the Milky Way galaxy is making interstellar travel between stars. Yeah. So if we discover evidence that someone else made the trip from another star to the sun, to the vicinity of Earth, that would change our perspective. And it's just like the group of chimpanzees finding, let's say, the crash site of an airplane. Once they see the airplane in their jungle crash, it will tell them that there is a whole new world beyond the reality that they live in, where things are very different. And for us to find the crash site of alien technology would be a similar experience. Suddenly we'll realize, oh, Elon Musk's ambition is nothing compared to what was accomplished by these guys.
So what do you think is the most likely scenario for extraterrestrial life? I know it's impossible to say one way or the other, but what feels to you like the most likely?
To me, it sounds like there would be some gadgets that would either come close to Earth and maneuver in ways that we cannot explain in terms of a rock or an iceberg. These are interstellar objects. Or they would be a mothership that releases a smaller craft that hone on Earth, just come to Earth and start. Now, the question is, what is their intent?
Right.
And that we will have to find out. I mean, we cannot figure it out in advance. Also, I don't know how the senders looked like.
Right.
By the way, the senders may be dead by now.
Yeah.
It's these gadgets
Billions
that
of
arrive
years
to
ago,
us. They
yeah.
may have artificial intelligence.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you were to meet an alien, what's the first thing you would say?
Oh, I would like to. Well, first we probably don't have a language,
True.
a common
But
language.
assuming you did.
The only way that the language is developed is by a common experience. So it will take a while for us to develop a common language. But once we have, I would like to know what happened before the Big Bang. What is our origin story, whether they know about it. The next thing, of course, is where is the nearest hub where I can meet more extraterrestrials. You
want to go hang out with the other guys. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
I think that's the move. And you would just bail on us at Earth?
Oh, yeah. I would
leave in a sec. You leave your wife behind?
About a decade ago, I asked my wife, if a spacecraft lands in our backyard, is it okay if I join them? And she said, yeah, just make sure that you leave the car keys with me. But actually, most recently, she said she will join me because she's very frustrated with reading the news every day.
Got it.
So she's willing to live with me. I have no hesitation whatsoever. I think, there is a lot of room for improvement as to what you see in day-to-day politics on
Yeah.
Earth. And
It could be even
after
worse.
living through that for so many decades, I just gave up. I say, okay, let this group of advanced monkeys fight among themselves, and let's just go somewhere else where there might be a higher
That
intelligence.
sounds kind of nice. All right, so there's no Hollywood movies that you think are even close to being accurate. No Lilo and Stitch is not accurate. Not Disclosure Day. Not Project Hail Mary.
Oh, Arrival.
Arrival, yes, and Arrival's
Yeah,
pretty good
I'll
with
tell
the
you
with the
why.
language thing and
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly, because it addresses a very important question of how to communicate.
All right, one final question before we let you go. Ukrainian scientists were saying this week that they said there's a UFO base on the moon. There's been a lot of stuff going on with the moon. Elon's rocket hit it a couple days ago. We visited.
Right.
Is there a UFO base on the moon?
Very unlikely. I mean, the claim was based on a 6-inch telescope used by Ukrainian astronomers. And the problem is, lots of things fly overhead, above the telescope. There are disturbances in the atmosphere, turbulence. You need at least 2 telescopes to look at the object and triangulate, figure out that you're seeing an object very far away. That was not done. So that's elementary. And also, we know that the Artemis 2 astronauts took thousands of images just a few months ago. And
they didn't see
any
anything.
UFO.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think they would have seen
and
it.
moreover, there is the Lunar Reconnaissance Orbiter, which is a NASA mission that it collected a huge amount of data about the moon. There is nothing there.
Yeah. So do you think as a society we should be working on sending messages out or working on trying to find the messages that are being sent to us?
I think if you are going on a blind date, the best thing to do is listen to your dating partner. The mistake that a lot of people say is, they are so proud of themselves that they speak and they don't figure out who the dating partner is. I think in any situation where we are confronted with another civilization, we should be humble and be willing to learn from them rather than telling them how great we are.
So the Avatar aliens, they're not real, even though some of them are pretty hot.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't imagine them this way. In fact, there was a sculptor, one of the most accomplished in the US, called Greg Wyatt, and he gave me the foundation for a bronze sculpture. And I decided to make out of it a sculpture that is called the alien. So I tried to imagine what an alien would look like.
Okay.
So I tried to make a body that is far better than the human body.
Okay.
One thing that I'm often missing is a third eye.
Interesting.
Behind, so I can look
behind.
backwards.
All right.
I don't know why we don't have a third eye.
That's a mistake.
It would have been so
That's
good
a mistake.
against predators. It would have saved us from a lot of
the
But
human body is not built to travel through space, right? I mean, we would die the second.
but even
we're not even built to
even on
survive
Earth.
Earth. Yeah.
Even on Earth,
Yeah.
you would think that animals with 3 eyes would survive better than 2 eyes. But it must be related to data processing. Our brain would have gotten so much data from 3
Yeah,
eyes.
it's like you don't need all that stuff behind you. You got to look forward, right, instead of behind. I like that. All right. Any other stuff coming out from the Pentagon that we should be keeping an eye out for that you're working on?
All I can say is the best is yet to
Wow.
come. And I will try to do my best to advance our knowledge on this subject. So stay tuned. I'll be glad to speak with you again when we know
I would
more.
love that. Where can people follow you and where can they check out some of your stuff?
Every day or two, I post an essay on medium.com. And you can subscribe to it. It's free. That's the best way to keep in touch.
And the best is yet to come. We're
Yes.
going to see those Navi avatars. The sexy aliens are coming out soon. So